Hello dear students, it's time for social science and we are doing chapter 9, the earth, our habitat. We have already started with this chapter and the previous videos you can find the lesson that we have completed so far. So now we will move ahead with the chapter. Now you know that we have completed studying about the solar system, the planets, the constellations, the moon, and after that, in the previous video, we also studied about the shape of Earth, the major latitudes, longitudes, pole star. In the major latitudes, we studied about the Tropic of Cancer, Tropic of Capricorn, Arctic Circle, Antarctic Circle, and something new, we also studied about the global positioning system, which consists of the major longitudes, in which we studied about the 0-degree longitude, that is the Greenwich Mean Time Line, and the 180-degree longitude, which is the International Date Line. And in the end, we studied about the tropics or the zone, the torrid zone, the temperate zone, and the frigid zone. You can go through all this in the previous videos. Now, let's start with the next part, which is types of motions of the earth. I know you must have studied this from 3rd or maybe even 4th standard in your social science classes or even in EVS. But let's just get some more details about it. Now the first topic is rotation. You know that rotation, when the earth rotates on its own axis, it is rotation. Just as the top rotates in a circle, same way the earth also rotates. And then revolution, when the earth revolves around the sun on its orbit, that is revolution. Let's study in detail about this. Rotation. As the top rotates on its axis, in the same way earth also rotates on its axis from west to east direction. The earth rotates on its axis from west to east direction. We see the sun rises in the east and sets in the west, east and sets in the west, but because the earth is rotating from west to east direction. This circular motion of the earth is called daily motion. Why is it called daily motion? Because it takes 24 hours to complete this cycle. This cycle of the rotation, it takes about 24 hours, and 24 hours is a normal day. Hence, it is the daily motion of the Earth's cycle. The Earth completes a cycle of 1670 kilometers per hour on equator. Now, what is the speed? It is 1670 kilometers per hour. That is the speed at which the Earth rotates. This speed has played an important role in shaping the Earth's orange shape. Now, we have studied earlier that the Earth is not completely spherical. It is like orange, it's a bit flat at the poles and elongated at the center like an orange. It's because of the speed of the earth that the earth has the shape like an orange. After rotation, let's study about revolution. The earth revolves around the sun as it rotates on its axis. It takes about 365 days for the earth to complete its revolution. We call this period a year. Now, we know that the rotation takes 24 hours and the revolution takes 365 days. This revolution is around the sun on a fixed path. An imaginary way to Earth's rotation around the sun in the space has been determined, which is known as orbit. It's not just randomly roaming around the sun, but as it is rotating by itself on its axis, in the same way it is revolving around the sun on the fixed path. That imaginary fixed path in the space on which the earth rotates is called its orbit. Along with this, the earth do not move in circular path, rather it moves in elliptical orbit. Now you can see in this diagram that even that orbit is not like a fixed circle, it is elliptical. Elliptical, like it's like oval or elongated. So the orbit of the earth around the sun is also elongated or egg shaped, we can say. Distance between sun and earth is not same throughout the year. Now we can see here that it's not same. Here it may be the earth gets closer to sun, and sometimes the distance between earth and sun is long. The earth rotates on its axis by making an angle of 23.5 degree on its axis and 66.5 degree along its orbit. Now if you keep in mind these degrees, like 23.5 degree that we have studied earlier, is the measurement, is one of the major latitudes for the Tropic of Cancer and Tropic of Capricorn. Same way, 66.5 or 66 degree and 5 minutes along its orbit, and that is the angle which is same to the major latitude of Arctic Circle and Antarctic Circle. So that way these are the angles which are made by the earth when it is rotating. The angle, you know the circle, so there are fixed angles. The earth is tilted to 23.5 degree. That is the angle which is made when the earth is rotating on its axis, and when it is rotating along the orbit, the angle made is of 66 degree and 5 minutes. Due to this movement of earth, the seasons occur and day and night are extended and shortened. We will study this further, like due to this movement of the earth, as the distance between the earth and sun is varying, the face which is the face of earth which is seen by the sun, the place of earth which directly rays gets the sun rays, that all leads to different seasons and the length of day and night. Next we'll study about day and night. Now we know the region which receives the sun rays has day, and the other half which does not get the sun rays has night. But is that the fixed location of the earth? We know that the earth is rotating, so because of that different places of earth gets rays. If the earth was not rotating, only one region will be facing sun, so at one place there will be always day, and at the other place there will be always night. But that is not the case. Why? Because the earth is rotating, so all the regions of the earth get 24 hours of day, in which there is morning, afternoon, evening and night. And the length of the day and night, that is different throughout the year. That is because the earth is tilted. Now let's look at the picture. Here you can see the earth as that blue ball, and the sun is given. As it is revolving around the sun, we can see that the length of days and nights is varying. Why is that? Because the earth is tilted. As it is tilted, there is difference between the length of days and nights. Let's start with equinox. Equinox is when the rays of the sun fall directly on the equator, and wherever the rays of the sun are falling on that area and the region adjacent to it, which is near that location, they will feel more heat. Hence, the days will be longer. But in equinox, the days and nights are of equal length. So 21st March is an equinox where the length of the day and the length of the night is equal. That is 12 hours of day and 12 hours of night. Now, after that, let's move towards June. 21st June is the time of summer solstice. Here, the rays of the sun shift towards from the equator. They shift towards northern hemisphere on the Tropic of Cancer. You must remember that the Tropic of Cancer comes in northern hemisphere and the Tropic of Capricorn in the southern hemisphere. So the rays of the sun fall directly over the Tropic of Cancer. Hence, there is summer in northern hemisphere, and the region where the sun rays are not falling directly, there is winter in the southern hemisphere. As and summer solstice, it is the day when the length of the day, that is the sun from morning to evening, it is considered the longest day. 21st June is the time of summer solstice. After that, the sun rays shift towards as the earth keeps on rotating, the sun rays fall directly over equator. Hence, there is one more equinox of 23rd September. At that time, the length of day and night are again equal during 23rd September. And from there, let's move towards winter solstice, where there is winter in the northern hemisphere and summer in the southern hemisphere. Why? Because the rays of the sun are falling directly over Tropic of Capricorn. So, during winter solstice, the length of the day is the shortest. That is, during 22nd December, the length of the day is shortest and the length of the night is longest. And in India, these solstices, like 21st June, which is summer solstice, is called Dakshinayan, and 22nd December is called Uttarayan. That is when the sun is moving towards Dakshin and when the sun is moving towards Uttar. Like Dakshin means for southern hemisphere and Uttar means for northern hemisphere. The rays of sun are shifting, so that way it is called Dakshinayan and Uttarayan. Let's have a look at the summer solstice. It is on 21st of June when there is longest day. Let's see what's happening here. During summer solstice, the rays of the sun are falling directly over Tropic of Cancer. So it has the longest day. Let's look at the Tropic of Cancer. It has 13.5 hours of daylight. Equator, it has 12 hours of daylight. Tropic of Capricorn has 10.5 hours of daylight, and Antarctic Circle, 0 hours of daylight. Let's see where it is, the South Pole. There it's not even getting sun rays. Hence, there is 6 months of night in the South Pole. And at the North Pole, what happens there? There is 6 months of day, because even with the rotation, there is no region left where the sun rays cannot reach. Hence, it has 6 months of day in the North Pole and 6 months of night in the South Pole. This is the situation of summer solstice. After that, let's have a look at the winter solstice, that is December 21, when the length of the day is the shortest in the northern hemisphere and the length of the night is the longest. So what happens here? Let's start with North Pole. At the North Pole, or let's start with the Arctic Circle. It has 24 hours of darkness, because even with the rotation of the earth, or though it is revolving around the sun, that region, the Arctic Circle, does not get any sun rays. So without sunlight, there is always darkness. It has 6 months of night. Then at Tropic of Cancer, it has 13.5 hours of darkness. The sun rays are less, so there will be 10.5 hours of day and 13.5 hours of darkness. Then the equator, it has 12 hours of darkness. That region will have 12 hours of darkness and 12 hours of daylight. Then Tropic of Capricorn. The sun rays are falling directly over the Tropic of Capricorn. Hence, it has 10.5 hours of darkness and 13.5 hours of daylight. And the Antarctic Circle. That region will always get the sun rays. Hence, it has polar day or 6 months of day or 0 hours of darkness. Then let's study about the equinox. These are the days when the sun rays fall directly over equator. They are not falling diagonally, but they are falling directly over the equator. Hence, all the regions will have equal amount of daylight and equal amount of darkness. Hence, the day and night are similar. And which are the days of equinox? They are 21st March and 23rd September. Now let's study about the seasons. The seasons are dependent on the amount of sun rays we get. Now the region which gets the maximum sun rays will have summer, and the region which gets the least sun rays will have winter. As the earth is rotating and revolving around the sun, we just studied that the amount of sun rays the region gets is varying. Because of this, we get different seasons, and there is difference in the amount of day and night. As the earth is tilted on its axis, one by one, northern hemisphere and southern hemisphere come in front of sun. The rays of sun fall straight on north of or south of equator. Thus, there is difference in day and night. In the areas where sunshine is for longer time, they experience summer, whereas the areas the sunshine is for shorter time, they experience winter. Season directly affects human life. So that's it for today. Go through the video again till you get all the concepts clear. We'll study more about this in the next class.